Small businesses can be cut off anytime, huh?
Working at a company that makes action figures, I got a new contract deal from a major toy manufacturer. After succeeding in the first deal, I continued the relationship with the client, but everything ended when the person in charge changed to a newbie named Tyler Brown. Because we were a small company, Tyler looked down on us and insulted us. I felt angry at such a person and was unsure whether to continue the contract. This is a good opportunity to end a contract. I visited Tyler's company to discuss the contract, but unable to endure his numerous insults, I decided to terminate the agreement. I was initially happy to connect with a major manufacturer, but I no longer wanted to work with him. During our contract, a turning point had come for our company. My name is Kevin Moore, 52 years old. I am a creator making toy figures, working in a company with 5 friends making action figures. Our company is not in an office building, but in a rented apartment room, serving as a base for exhibiting products at national fairs. Though small, our company focuses on quality, producing only high-quality items. Recently, every time we participate in fairs, we get rave reviews from the public and other companies, leading to an increase in production requests. My colleagues and I enjoy working together, making this company a great place for me. 6 months ago, we made a deal with a major toy manufacturer. That company, with last year's revenues exceeding $3 billion, approached us at a fair. While showcasing our flagship product, one of the employees there approached me about teaming up on some projects. Being approached by a major manufacturer for the first time was thrilling, and I quickly agreed to collaborate. Working with their representative, we made significant progress, and that project was a huge success. This boosted our sales, and we continued to receive orders, becoming a preferred supplier for them. I never expected a major manufacturer to reach out, and I hoped for a lasting good relationship, but then I received an email from the representative saying he was resigning. From now on, a new employee named Tyler Brown would take over. I felt sad about losing the contact I had grown close to, but was told that Tyler, though a newcomer, had more ambition than his peers. He believed Tyler would tackle the job with enthusiasm. Trusting his words, I replied, looking forward to working with Tyler. Then I visited their company to meet the new representative. Nice to meet you. I'm Kevin from Toy Scout. My first impression of Tyler was a young and passionate salesman. He's sharp in a business suit and gives off a promising vibe.
Hello, I'm Tyler.
Tyler handed me his business card, though his tone was blunt. After exchanging business cards, we made small talk to break the ice, but then,
Do you guys work out of an apartment? Isn't that cramped?
Tyler suddenly switched to a casual tone, which caught me off guard. Yeah, well, it's packed with cardboard boxes, but we manage well with a small team.
Sounds like a small company thing, huh?
At first, I thought his casual speech was his way of trying to close the gap between us. But as we talked more, the conversation shifted towards comparing his company and ours.
How much do you earn? Being in a big company, we get paid more than the average newbie. And we have great benefits, you know.
Despite it being our first meeting, his blunt talk about salary made me inwardly cringe. Feeling it was best not to prolong the conversation, I quickly wrapped up and left the company.
Leaving already? You should be grateful for the chance to work with us, you know.
His condescending tone was evident as I was leaving. If I had ended the contract with him right there, I might have saved myself time and effort, but I felt too bad for the previous person in charge to cut ties. Later, Tyler requested the production of a prototype, which we accepted without charge. I got talked into doing it for free by the team, thinking it would boost sales and visibility, but it turned out to be a mistake. Even if it was just a prototype, it contained our dedication and should have been charged for. After sending the prototype to Tyler, he requested improvements. When I mentioned that we would charge for the revisions, he coldly said,
"You won't do it for free. Then never mind."
What? While we had other jobs, we worked overtime trying to impress the major manufacturer, but Tyler acted as if our requests didn't exist. Since we had initially agreed, we felt we had no choice but to accept it quietly, but this started my distrust of him. Doubting Tyler over the pro bono work, I went to his company to discuss whether to continue the contract. There, Tyler demanded more disclosure of our product's information, asking for detailed company secrets like supplier lists, know-how, and customer lists. Would you sign a non-disclosure agreement before sharing that information? I insisted on this to avoid any verbal dispute about who said what later. Tyler pouted, showing his displeasure.
"Why can't you just tell me? I won't tell anyone, and we don't need to bother with a non-disclosure agreement."
He refused. I remembered it took quite long to get a contract draft during the pro bono work. Despite my repeated reminders, Tyler always had some excuse about internal delays. I came today to talk about the contract. We did the last job for free, but if we continue, we'd like to charge for everything, even prototypes. I told Tyler that we would need to be paid if we continued working together. I learned from our past mistakes, so for this contract, I've decided to make sure we get paid properly.
What a low move, charging for just making samples. This is why I hate dealing with small-time companies. You don't know your place.
Waiting for Tyler's response, I was met with his rant against me.
I wanted to handle your account because the previous guy seemed to enjoy his work, thinking I could easily make a name for myself.
I didn't miss Tyler's muttered words. Wait, you weren't recommended by the former rep.
What? When I heard about the resignation, I asked many times to be put in charge.
I had assumed that the previous rep trusted Tyler enough to hand over the job. But I was wrong. It turns out Tyler had aggressively volunteered for it.
Working with small companies is so uninspiring.
Is it okay to say that? Just because you're from a big company doesn't mean you can get away with such insults. Complaining in front of a business partner is utterly unacceptable. I tried to call Tyler out, but he just glared at me, annoyed.
Don't preach to me, you small-timer. Talk big like that, and I might just stop giving you work.
Tyler's true colors showed as he scoffed.
Small businesses can be cut off anytime, you know.
He hinted at canceling the contract to get us to comply.
If you don't want the contract terminated, then stop dealing with other companies and hand over your information and technology to us.
Are you saying you want to monopolize our technology? He seemed intent on ensuring we didn't share our skills or information with others. If he's not willing to show any signs of building a good relationship with us, it means he's just looking to cherry-pick our technology, extract as much information as possible, and then ditch us.
You're a small company, right? Getting approached by a big player like us doesn't happen often. It would be wise to just comply with our demands if you want to build your track record.
Tyler was using his position at the major manufacturer to intimidate me. If I gave in and handed over our technology, all our hard work would be for nothing, and we'd have to accept it silently. That would make it impossible for me to face my colleagues. No matter the threats, I resolved not to be swayed. If you want to continue doing business with us, please agree to a fair contract. I spoke my mind directly. I figured neither of us wanted any trouble in our dealings. I looked Tyler straight in the eyes, but he just smirked and didn't respond. Impatient, I said, "If you're not willing to agree to a fair contract, I want you to delete the information we've disclosed so far." Then,
You're naive, you know. I asked for disclose, but it was your responsibility to comply. Therefore, any information you've disclosed is now ours to use as we see fit. You have no right to interfere.
Tyler's arrogance was infuriating. Fortunately, we hadn't disclosed all our secret info yet. So, our developed technologies were still safe. To prevent any further exploitation by such a person, I made a decision. This is a good opportunity to end a contract.
What?
Tyler was taken aback, still smiling. I've realized we're not a good match, Tyler, so let's end this contract and our future dealings. Thank you for everything so far. I greeted to Tyler and left the company.
Wait, just a minute. I won't allow you to end the contract.
As I passed through the company's entrance, Tyler followed me, panicking. However, if you're not willing to meet our requests, we won't continue. Besides, I've had my concerns about you for a while now.
Concerns? Are you saying you have a problem with me? I work for a large corporation, you know.
I wondered if Tyler was unaware of his faults, and I laid it out. Talking casually to business partners is unacceptable, and just because you work for a major manufacturer, it doesn't mean you should act superior. Tyler seemed to take offense at my pointing out his manners, furrowing his brow.
You think you can talk back just because you're a small business. You might end up regretting losing work.
Don't worry about us. We have other clients, and our technology has improved, finally yielding results.
What do you mean, yielding results?
Just as Tyler was about to press further, an employee who seemed to be his colleague approached us. Tyler looked embarrassed. When the employee asked us if there was a problem, I shared my grievances about Tyler. I actually told Tyler that we're ending the contract, but he tried to stop me, and his way of speaking is a bit off. I gently pointed out his bad manners. The employee immediately apologized, looking distressed. He repeatedly apologized for his lack of guidance, which made me sense his sincerity. Like the previous representative, most employees in this company are probably earnest and honest. It seems that only a few like Tyler cause trouble. In my company, everyone knows each other, making collaboration easy. In contrast, large companies gather various individuals, making it hard to spot the troublemakers. I realized that new employee training in big corporations doesn't always go smoothly. The employee tried to make Tyler apologize, but even with such an attempt, I wouldn't rescind a contract termination. Thank you for everything, Tyler. All right, have a good one. I greeted again to the two of them and left the company. I'll leave the rest to the experienced employees and let him deal with Tyler, whether it's giving him a talking to or whatever. The next day, I was engrossed in creating action figures at my company. Just as we were about to go out to buy lunch, my phone rang. It was Tyler. Given yesterday's events, I was puzzled about what he wanted, but sensing trouble, I ignored the call and went out to get lunch. Even in the afternoon, his persistent calls didn't stop. Determined, I continued to ignore them. After work, while discussing going out for drinks with my colleagues, the company's doorbell rang. Assuming it was a delivery due to a large order of materials, I went to the entrance without suspicion. There stood Tyler. "Tyler, what brings you here so late?" It was past 6 p.m. And to top it off, I was caught off guard by the surprise visit.
Hey, got a minute?
Looks like Tyler rushed here. He seems out of breath and a bit frazzled. Concerned he might cause a scene because he seemed to be upset about the ignored calls, I led him to the reception area. My colleagues were already aware of the situation with Tyler and were equally surprised by his visit. I sat opposite Tyler, separated by a low table, ready to listen to him. For safety, I had one of my employees, named Alex, stay in the corner of the room. Alex has been my closest friend since college and the one who rallied us to start the company. Without him, we wouldn't be working like this, probably walking different paths. I'm short on time, so if you could make this quick. As I tentatively spoke, Tyler widened his eyes, showing a desperate look.
I heard from my colleague at the company. Did you, behind my back, apply for a patent?
A patent, yes. We filed it 2 months ago and are waiting for the review.
Why didn't you say anything? If you hadn't applied, we would have been first.
Tyler suddenly raised his voice. While he had commissioned us for a new project, we had successfully developed new technology and applied for a patent. Having a patent would mean we could earn licensing fees on top of sales when contracting with companies.
Our R&D team was about to file for this revolutionary technology, but we had to withdraw because you applied first. Why didn't you tell me during our contract?
There was nothing about the patent in the contract, so we didn't see the need to mention it. As I explained calmly, Tyler slammed his hand on the low table, making a loud noise. It seemed like an intimidation tactic, and I felt irritated. Could you please not make such loud noises? If you intend to cause a scene, I will contact your company. I said this and glanced at Alex, who was standing by in the corner. Thinking he might be reported to his company, Tyler regained his composure, cleared his throat, and sat down again.
Anything discovered during the contract should mean that all patent and intellectual property rights belong to us. Transfer the patent rights to us once obtained.
Are you saying you want our new technology? It seemed that was Tyler's reason for coming. He probably thought that if the application was not approved, a direct conversation would lead to a transfer. Well, according to the contract, the rights would belong to whoever they're written into the contract for, I guess.
Right? So, you don't have exclusive rights to the patent.
If the contract had stated that any developed technology would belong to Tyler's company, we wouldn't have been able to patent it. But that was only if it had been written. Did you actually read the contract, Tyler?
Huh?
I pulled out the contract we had signed from my desk and showed it to him. To make it clear to Tyler, I read it aloud. The contract had rules set between both parties, including that all intellectual property rights, like patents, would belong to my company.
What the heck?
Clearly, Tyler had not fully grasped the contract's content. Perhaps being new, he hadn't paid attention to the details.
This contract is invalid. It can't just favor you.
Tyler started ranting like a child. Sighing, I pointed him to the last page of the contract. This agreement represents the complete agreement between the parties regarding its subject matter. All prior agreements, whether written, oral, or implied, are void upon the execution of this contract. In summary, what's written in the contract is final, and any verbal or email promises have no legal effect. So, no matter how careless the writing, as long as it's in this contract, it's absolute.
So, My rush to call and withdraw after learning you applied was all in vain.
Tyler was pale and trembling. It seemed he desperately made those relentless calls because he couldn't afford to miss out on a potential patent and couldn't easily break off the contract as a newcomer.
Then grant us a license.
Does that mean you want an exclusive right? That could be considered a violation of antitrust laws. Misusing your dominant position might even invite regulatory intervention, so you better watch your words. Feeling his position threatened, Tyler became frightened when I warned him. I wasn't going to let him force an unfair deal on us any longer. I told him straight. You're not suitable as a business partner, not just your language, but your arrogance in using the position of a major manufacturer to dominate us disqualifies you as a salesman. We no longer wish to contract with your company.
This will cause me trouble. I was severely reprimanded by my colleague last time, and he threatened that it won't be pretty if I lose this contract again. Please give me another chance.
Tyler pleaded, getting his head down on the low table. It seems he was scolded by the experienced employee after I left his company, but that's not my concern. No, I can't trust you anymore, Tyler. We refused the licensing deal, so please leave. Deciding there was no need for further discussion, I urged him to exit. I glanced at Alex, who had been on standby, and he seemed to be making a phone call. Meanwhile, Tyler showed no sign of moving from his chair. Do you intend to stay there?
I'm a man too. I won't leave until I get another chance.
Tyler glared at me with a determined look.
Hey, Kevin, why don't you come work with us? I'm sure you can create new technology with this.
Huh? To my surprise, Tyler tried to poach me.
Unlike this place, our company offers high salaries and excellent benefits. We have ample facilities and materials for research, making it a great workplace for a creator like you. It's wiser to switch to a major manufacturer than to keep working on small projects here.
Alex and I were speechless. Not because we were flattered by the offer, but because we were appalled by his condescending remarks. You're mistaken.
Huh?
As I glared, Tyler's face went pale. This company was founded by people who love creating figures, sharing the same passion. Sure, we're small, but we're far more comfortable here than at a company like yours. I felt angry at the insult to the company I founded with my friends. No matter how big their company, they shouldn't belittle others. Can you apologize for insulting our company?
I'm sorry.
Tyler mumbled an apology and then looked down, showing no sign of getting up. If you have no intention of leaving, I guess we have no choice but to call your parent, your company, to pick you up. I asked Alex to call Tyler's company. It turned out he had already contacted them, and someone was on their way here. Hearing this, Tyler became visibly panicked.
Please spare me that. If I return to the company without any results, I'll be the laughingstock.
Tyler shook his head vigorously, showing resistance. Everyone makes mistakes, except what you've done. Come on, stand up. I tried to lift Tyler by his arm. However, he stubbornly refused to leave, clinging to the chair. Alex and I were appalled by his childish display.
Actually, I sneaked out of the company to come here. If they find out I left, I'll be in big trouble with my boss.
Then you should apologize honestly. It's better for you to do it sooner rather than later. As I tried to persuade the reluctant Tyler, the company's intercom rang. It signaled the end of the chaos and the beginning of Tyler's reprimand. His boss had arrived. It seems he got a call while searching for Tyler and hurried over to our place. Upon seeing Tyler, the boss scolded him loudly.
Yikes, I'm sorry.
Tyler cringed and started crying under the scolding. His boss apologized to us profusely and promised to visit again later, then dragged Tyler back to their company. Tyler likely faced more severe reprimands from higher-ups upon returning. Once the storm had passed, I felt a wave of exhaustion and went home with Alex. Later, as promised, Tyler's boss and an executive visited our company to apologize. When we reported Tyler's insult as a small business, they agreed to all our terms and offered to pay compensation. I made it clear we would not pursue a licensing agreement going forward, leaving Tyler's fate to them. Concluding our discussion, Tyler became infamous in his company for his major blunder and unauthorized departure during work hours, drawing unwanted attention. And then, his insulting remarks about our company and his arrogant attitude were frowned upon, leading Tyler to end up with a 1-month suspension. During this time, his peers rapidly advanced their skills, growing into competent professionals. After his suspension ended, he was confronted with their success. Tyler, who landed a job at a major manufacturer, was eager to climb the corporate ladder faster than his peers. However, he was outshined by his rivals, which shattered his pride completely. After embarrassing himself once again in front of a client and feeling like he was being judged by his colleagues, he couldn't bear it anymore and decided to resign on his own terms. Once, he called my company.
I'm sorry for what happened before. I'm looking for a job. Could I possibly join your team?
Tyler explained how he was fired and asked to be employed at our place. But I already knew what kind of person he was. Sorry, but look elsewhere. No matter the apology, I don't want to work with you, Tyler. I chose not to reconcile with Tyler. He continued job hunting but struggled to find employment, compounded by the reason for his resignation. After cutting ties with Tyler, we patented our invention, leading to licensing requests from mother company. Wary of past troubles, we approached new offer cautiously. However, the new company was not about dominance but considered our benefits, proving to be a good partner. The contract was fair, not burdening either side, so we moved forward, unchained from the past. Since signing the licensing agreement, our revenue has steadily increased, transitioning us from a micro to a small enterprise. We're expanding our staff and scouting for a larger space than our current apartment to accommodate our growth.